Welcome to Healing the Spirit, a space where we awaken our creativity, deepen our connections, and remember who we are through the lens of astrology, archetypes, and art making. I'm your host, Jonathan Coe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing the Spirit, and welcome to this conversation with Ashley Jones. I am so excited to have you listen to it. There's so much wisdom in it. Ashley and I spoke about what it means to embrace and to connect with your favorite self. And if you're wondering, what does that mean? What is my favorite self? I'll let Ashley do the honor of explaining this concept to you. This is something that she's written extensively about, and this is something she's worked with clients around, and she has this really deep and well-rounded perspective on it. And we also speak about how connecting with our favorite self can really help us move through transitions in life. And many of us who are walking the spiritual path, or at least have a lot of awareness about ourselves as spiritual beings, at one point in our lives, very often, we're called to take a leap. We're called to courageously move out of our comfort zone. And that can be a highly uncomfortable place. And Ashley spoke about her own practices, and she's actually navigating one of these periods herself. And I feel very privileged to catch her at this moment in her journey, because you can really feel the potency and the just the energy of like someone moving through this period and like really guiding themselves with a lot of curiosity and compassion, while also embracing all parts of her human experience. And I think that's a really, really special moment to have a conversation with someone. We also talked about adult friendships. Now, this is a topic that in many conversations I've had with loved ones, with friends, with students, clients, I know this to be a sticking point for a lot of people. Being an adult can be amazing because we have the level of agency and freedom that we often don't feel we have access to when we were younger. But being an adult can also be really challenging in terms of finding connections with people who are truly aligned with you and who can reflect back some part of your essence that can make life feel amazing, right? And so Ashley speaks about she shares a lot of her wisdom around this. And we also talk about what it means to find belonging within ourselves and how we can make these deep aligned connections without contorting ourselves into this version that we can even barely recognize, right? That doesn't really align with our value and who we know ourselves to be. So there's so much good stuff in this episode. I really want to just let you get into it. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Ashley Jones. Hello, Ashley. It's so good to see
Hello.
you.
Hi. Hi, hi, hi.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
It's been pretty recent that we're in each other's orbits, but
Mhm.
um, you visited New York a couple months ago at this
One
point.
month ago. 1 month
One
ago.
month ago.
Isn't that
Wow,
crazy?
time
It's
is
only been
so
one
crazy.
month.
Time is so crazy. And I feel like I've known you for a very long time. So Yeah.
Feeling is mutual. The feeling is so mutual. Yeah, no, we connected through the levitation practice course through Michelle Pelazan, and there
Yeah.
was immediate like mirroring that was happening. I was like,
Hmm.
there's a vibe. And then I
Hmm.
think we got like virtual coffee back in January, and then
That's
I came
right.
to work and I was like, slid into your DMs. I was like, hey, you want to get coffee? You want to go hang with me? And
Yeah.
then we had this like magical walk, and I will never forget
Yeah.
that
We
incredible,
hung out for
incredible
like
walk.
4 hours
And I was like,
or
we keep
something like
going.
that, right? Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, I love
Yep.
this. This is great energy.
Yeah, truly. I'm so excited to have you over and to talk about you and your work. And I kind of want to start with the hot goss.
The hot goss. I'm moving back to New York City. I lived in New York City for 9 months during
Mm.
2019. I graduated college, May of 2019. And then intuitively, serendipitously, was home during COVID when it hit in March of 2020. So I got kicked out basically from New York. I was like, well, we're done. And I had quit a job like a month before. So I was like, I need a reset. Um, but there's been little nudges from the universe, and that weekend where I got to see you and I got to the amount of synchronicity I had was just like unfathomable. I have a whole list because like I need to write this down. This is gonna be good content at some point. Like I need to use this. This is gonna need to be remembered for myself. Um, that I'm being asked to leap again,
Mm.
which I'm not
Mm.
surprised by. This is how I respond with the universe. The universe says, "Okay, bet you want to go." You said
Yeah.
what? You want this for yourself? Um, but yeah. Don't know
How do you
exactly when the date
feel?
is.
How do you feel about taking that big leap this time?
If you'd asked me 5 days ago, you probably would have gotten a lot of tears in this moment because I feel like when I hold things in for too long, it feels like they build and build and build and build. And
Mm.
I needed to take the weekend to cry and to process and to grieve. And then I needed to announce it. I needed it to be real. I needed to like stop feeling like I was holding it in. But it feels incredible, honestly. It feels like I have a profound sense of clarity around why I wanted to go when we were there. When I think it was the day before I saw you, I had gone to a sound bath in Brooklyn. And this woman, Nami, who does cosmic yin sound bath and yoga and like astrology on the new moon, which I'm such a little witch. And I was like, I'm gonna go sit here because my friend, I basically showed up in New York on Thursday evening, and that Friday, one of my best friends in the world, actually, I have two of my very, very best friends live in New York, and one of them had just moved, and she sat down with me at dinner. She's like, "So you're moving, right? Right?" And I was like, "I think so. What's happening?" And to be clear, we sat down at the restaurant. We walk in. I was like, "I think I've been here before." We sit down at this table. I was like, "Oh, I was. I got dinner with like my childhood crush, like the guy that I was obsessed with growing up."
Wow.
At this exact table while I was living in New York. Like I didn't plan where we were going. I didn't plan going to that restaurant. We'd gotten burgers because my friend, the other really best friend, her name is Steph, she loves burgers. She recommended this place, Happiest Hour in the West Village. And my friend Janelle, who I was visiting, we walked in, we sat down. I was like, I have literally, like, I was like, this is okay. This is crazy. Like how I did, like, why at the exact table, Jonathan, the exact table.
That is
I hit the point,
wild.
and she's like, so you're moving. I was like, my body is, I don't know what's happening right now to me.
Yeah.
Really intense. But I'm so excited, and I'm also grieving leaving Colorado because
Yeah.
I love it here. Like I really do. This place is my home
Mm.
in a lot of
Hmm.
ways.
Yeah.
But we can have multiple homes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I've been reflecting on, how the idea of home and belonging is so different in the world that we're currently living in versus the world that maybe you and I were raised in, you know?
Mhm.
And the past, I don't know, even like the past 5 years since 2020, the world has changed so much, And I think even our idea of what it means to be home has shifted a lot,
Mhm.
And earlier you mentioned your best friends living in New York, and this is reminding me of a conversation I had with a different friend the other day about how when choosing where to move, often the best thing to do is to figure out where your people are,
100%.
because ultimately it kind of comes down to connections.
Mhm.
Your experience is made or broken by the people you are surrounded by.
Yeah, and I think that The crazy part is that I moved to Denver
Mm.
so COVID, I was living at home in California, which is where I'm from, the Bay Area. During COVID, hit my expiration date. I was like, I can no longer be living in my childhood bedroom. This is too much inner child healing. I think I'm good. Like, I think this is enough. I think this is, I need to go. I need to go be an adult. Okay, I love you. Goodbye. And I chose Denver because I've always knew I was moving to Denver at some point. And I went to summer camp up in the mountains here in Colorado for 7 years as a kid. That was like my oasis. It was where I discovered like a lot of my values. I built community for the first time. I built like really strong friendships and I built a lot of my own like autonomy and resiliency. And I mean, you stick a 11-year-old on a 13,000-foot mountain and that builds a lot of resilience. Like my little sister, I was more of a horseback rider at the time. I was like, why would I hike if the horse can hike for me? Like, I don't get that, but sure. My little sister was a big hiker, and she at 13 years old did the tallest mountain in the Rocky Mountain National Park. She did Long's Peak, and
Wow.
they give you opportunities to really push your resiliency and build a sense of just like personal power and inner strength. And I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's grit. That's the word I'm looking for. Like a sense of like true grit. And so I moved to Colorado because that's where my people were. I was like, I
Mm.
don't have anyone left in New York. Everyone's kind of home. Like, I don't want to go back there right now.
Yeah.
California, like, friendships had been really hard growing up for me. I didn't really have my people. I felt like friendships were really, really hard. And
Mm.
in college too, I had like a couple really good friends, but I did not find like greater community, I would say. Like,
Mm.
I had a lot of wounding around community. And I found that I like kind of was like, I would go through like the buffet of life and I'd be like, okay, I'll keep you. I'll take you from college. I'll take you from when I lived abroad. I'll take you from camp. Like I would go and like find people in different places. It wasn't like I walked in to spaces and was like, oh, this is now my identity. This community is my identity. Um, but when I moved to Denver, the whole reason I moved to Denver is because I was like, I know people here. Like at least I
Yeah.
have a foundation of showing up. And the first thing I did was like, I need to make friends. And I will tell you, I have made so many friends. I'm like, I have the most incredible friendships in like the entire world. And it's been the gift of Denver is just people, the people here.
Yeah. 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 This is a topic that I wanted to talk to you about because I know this is part of your work. This is an
Mhm.
important part of, how you interact with the world. You are super intuitive, super psychic, definitely a witch. And also, there's this whole theme that, even you and I were discussing when you were in New York about building a group of friends. And this is something that I feel doesn't get a lot of airtime in our
Mhm.
culture and also is so essential for a lot of people, like what it means to have friends as adults. And to me, friendships can be challenging because a lot of us built friendships when we were little,
Mm.
and a lot of the friendships were circumstantial, right? Meaning we were friends with our classmates, with people that we share, neighborhoods with. Like there's always a shared
Hobbies, like
thing, hobbies.
sports, like you're going to like clubs, right? You're in debate club. Now we're just
Right,
together.
right, right. And I think because of that, and plus the fact that maybe a lot of these friendships were modeled to us as children, as adults, to build conscious friendships can be really challenging because we
Yeah,
have a lot of models that maybe we have to like break, in order to find our own authentic way of wanting to be friends with people. So, yeah, I'm curious how you've been approaching this.
I have so much to say on this, as you know. I think the biggest part, there's two things. You were talking about COVID originally, and the importance of friendship. And to me, friendship is the foundation of everything.
Mm,
And so much of what COVID illuminated was it forced us into isolation in a way that disconnected us from other people that I don't really think that we as a society have even started to understand the impact of that, of being around like two people. Like humans are
mm,
social creatures. Let's start there on like a scientific space. The only reason humans, like the species of humanity, has succeeded is because we work in groups. Like we're not tigers, we're not lions. We are not like lions are pack animals. Tigers are more individual. But we're not like a species that like you go and like have a dalliance, procreate, and then you never see each other again. We are like very much community built, and you go back and anthropologically in time and think about like, oh, the differentiation of skill, building relationships was how we thrived. Like this is a bigger thing. And I think the reason why I think friendship feels like truly the foundation of everything to me is because it's relationship. Everything, whether it's romantic relationship, whether it's working relationships, whether it's like familiar relationships, sits on top of friendship because friendship is just the bond between two people who are saying, I like you, and you allow me to be my favorite self. And when I'm together, I'm more of my favorite self. And who you are is someone who allows me to be my favorite, your favorite self. And so they become these like co-creative spaces, friendships that because we're not taught about them, I think especially, I come from like, the white picket fence background a little bit. And you're just kind of like, oh, like romantic relationships are really important. Or
Family.
yeah, family relationships are most important. And people, I did like chosen family, which are friends, but no one actually ever talks about, to your point, like what is friendship?
Mm,
How do we make friends? And the importance of friendship in a world. And I would say friendship is like the greatest gift because
mm,
I have friends, like I have been single, I have not had a long-term partner ever. Like I've dated people on and off, but I haven't found that kind of thing where I'm like, yeah, I like you enough that like we're going to be physically intimate, we're going to be emotionally intimate, we're going to be like sexually intimate, we're going to be spiritually intimate. We're hitting all of the right? Different types of
mhm.
intimacy, mental intimacy, like financial intimacy. Like when you're with your partner, like you're merging all these different levels of yourself with someone. Whereas friendship, like you're not necessarily, depends on your choice of friendship. All friendships are welcome, but
Yeah.
there's not necessarily that same level of pressure also from society of like, this person is your person forever, right? But at that same
Mm,
point, there's not the same level of structure that comes in of how do I create friends?
yeah.
And what I realized as someone who, in retrospect, really struggled with friendships, I really wanted close friendships. I wanted places that I felt home and safe for a really long time. Couldn't find people. And a lot of times it was school felt really hard because I was such a little nerd and I wanted to be popular. And popularity is not something that I have ever been able to chase. Like, if I want to be cool, like, I am abandoning myself because for some reason I'm thinking who I am authentically is not enough.
Mm,
Like, that's what the relationship I have to popularity of like, you have to
yeah.
put on a certain archetype or you have to fit into something, which to me meant abandoning myself, which is always, always for every version of myself that's listening to this through the cosmos and the ethers, always not worked out. It's not been a good time. It's not been a good time. It's been a bad time. It's a bad, bad, bad time. It has led
Yeah.
me down so many wrong directions because it's not really
Mm,
been, it's not what I wanted. It was for something like the ego or like the
yeah.
outcome or the clout. When in reality, what I realized is that the more my favorite self I am,
Mm,
the more I find my favorite people.
mm,
And the more I allow myself to be seen by the people I want to be seen by, the more I become my favorite self because I feel accepted for the parts of myself that I've hidden. And I feel like welcomed and moving, to Denver because it was a choice to do something because I wanted to. Versus when I moved to New York, I had like advice of like, you should go do this, go like be a boss babe. So that was the reason I moved to New York. Like I ran away to college to go like find myself. I like these things I was running from or like chasing something when in this moment it was like, oh, I'm going to go be my favorite version of me because I love Colorado.
yeah.
And lo and behold, I have like so many incredible friends. Like I don't know what God in a past life that I like bowed down to or what altar I decided to like do some type of dance on. But like I have the most incredible friendships. And I think you're one of
Mm,
these moments where like you and I just clicked. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
we're gonna be best friends. I hope you realize that. Like we're about to be like, I don't know if you have a choice in this. Like you and I are about to be best friends. Okay.
Oh, there's something I read on your website, Ashley, that really felt like a truth moment for me,
Hmm.
which was it's in connection with the self that we find the greatest freedom. And I just want to let that land for a little bit because it's so true and I know it in my heart and in my being. And yet it is so easy, especially when I have a little bit of distance from myself and my situation, to see all these different ways that I run away from my own truth and my own self to find or chase after some illusion of freedom, right? So I'm curious to hear you talk more about this, about what is tempting us outside that is making us do this weird like chase, and why is it that connecting to the self, which actually is so easy in some ways, why has it been so difficult for so many of us?
I have a lot to say on this. I'm curious, you mentioned the idea of illusion, and I'm curious what you meant by illusion of freedom,
Mm,
so I
mm.
can dig into it a little more.
Yeah. To me, the illusion of freedom sounds like this. If only I could make X amount of money that I know this person made, then I would be free, right? Or if only I know how to make my art a certain way. Like I was a musician, so this is very rampant in the musician community, right? It's like, oh, if I could hit that note, then I would feel fulfilled, right? When
Mm.
actually you're just like who you are is enough, and that is kind of the basis upon which we can build skills, right?
Hmm.
And I think this sometimes it can feel like you have to deny yourself or betray yourself in order to get to where you want to go, in order to achieve certain goals. And it's actually, yeah, like even I think in how you worded that sentence, it is kind of like, I don't know, like there's something here about paradox too, right? That
Hmm.
it's kind of a paradox that, yeah, we find the freedom when we accept ourselves, but it's very difficult to accept ourselves.
Because we're told not to.
Mm.
Like right out the gate, the
Hmm.
hardest part, I would say two things from what you just said. The first is humans, we chase feelings, not things. Like we want the way something we like you want the money because the way money is going to make you feel. You want the partner because you want the way the partner is going to make you feel. You're
Mm.
tying the outcome to the experience of A, who you're going to be when you have it, and B, the feeling that you want to have. But oftentimes why the midlife crisis happens or people have like these like what like dark night of the soul is that you get the thing you thought you wanted, the job, the money, the career, the prestige. But you look around and that's not what you wanted your life to actually look like when you arrived. But you were
Yeah.
so focused on chasing the one outcome, right? Like this
Mm.
tangible material thing that you forgot that your whole life you are the thing that you're becoming. And so we talk about the idea of self as freedom. Yourself is your soul's intention in form. And what I mean by that is I mean yourself is the merging of your soul and your spirit and your body. It's the way that you're able to express into the world. It's your dreams, it's your beliefs, it's your humanity, it's your lived experience. It's the way in which, like, when you reincarnate and your soul lands in your body, you have, ancestral stuff, you have familial stuff, you have circumstances, you have the intersectionality of like, what body are you in, what gender, what sexuality, like all these different, like, education, these things that intersect and they form into this kind of mixing pot of the self.
Yeah.
And when we're able to bring this deeper sense of truth that comes from the soul of like, these are the circumstances, but like, what do I crave?
Mm.
What does freedom mean to me?
Mm.
And that's why I use the word favorite so often is because favorite is inherently like only you can have. That's your opinion. Like your favorite things are your favorite things. My favorite things are my favorite things. Like I'm not a huge fan of peanut butter, but I'm never gonna yuck someone else's yum because like if
Yeah.
you love peanut butter, you could have that be your favorite thing. Like that's why am I having an opinion on that? I can't have an opinion
Mm.
on what your favorite thing is. Like that's a
Hmm.
single person opinion.
Yeah.
But we're born into a world that says if you want the outcome, and typically what we're seeking for as humans, like the actual outcomes we want is like autonomy,
Mhm.
personal autonomy. So the ability to be ourselves and make our own choices and to live the life we want to live, and community acceptance. We want to feel seen and recognized and held in community. To go back to we talked about a little bit ago of like humans are hardwired to be in connection. When we were born as little infants, we come screaming into the world, not like horses who can get up and walk immediately. We can't really function for like 5, 7 years on our own. And really up until, talk about neuroscience of it, like 25 is when our brain really is done developing. Like there's a long time that it takes us to really be able to exist in the world and to orient to get our basic needs met. And because of that, it ties the self and the other together in this really interesting way, where
Mm.
in order to stay alive, I have to be dependent on others on some level, which I'm sure people are hearing that and being like, but I don't want to. I want to be hyper independent. I can't trust other people, right? Like this is a huge thing.
Yeah.
It ties into perfectionism. On the flip side, ties into people pleasing of like, why am I abandoning myself to be liked by others? Because for some reason, I think my pure expression of myself will not be received by
Mm.
someone else. It will not be accepted. It'll be rejected. And so I hide my autonomy and I hide community. And then these things start to friction. Self and other start to be in friction. And it becomes this, to your point, paradox of when we've move through school and we move through life and people very clearly tell us to reject parts of ourselves or to hide parts of ourselves because it's upsetting to them because they've rejected parts of themselves. So you being that version of you is activating that for them. It's mirroring back to them the way that they've had to reject it. So they're now like taking that and projecting that into you, being like, oh, you shouldn't be honest with people because if you're honest with people, like you'll get abandoned. And so you're
Yeah.
like, cool, I'm now going to take that thought, store it away in my brain, and I will operate on that for my entire world. If I want people to like me, I always have to be available,
Mm.
right? They create these conditional statements, but if I'm always available, I'm also abandoning myself.
Mm.
So it becomes this like paradox, like I can't have both things at the same time. How do I be my favorite self and be accepted by community? And I think it's that hard thing of like to go to your example of music of this idea of creation that you're singing because you want to sing, but I mean, correct if I'm wrong, part of me would assume, especially for really professional musicians, you want to land with people, you want people to like it, you want people to like pay for the thing, you want people to be like, I love that thing. Like that's a part of the creative process. Is there's a part where like you do hope that this can impact someone else, and as a
Yeah.
result we get tethered into this social relationship and dynamic that creates this sense of, because of this dichotomy of self and other that says like I can't be fully myself to be accepted, and to be accepted I have to abandon myself,
Mm.
prevents us from actually being able to be in the sense of freedom. And to me, freedom is the whole point of being human,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
alive and to be free. Like that, those two things are like, you want to get into purpose, like that's the purpose of being human. It's to be alive. Like what's the phrase? The meaning of life is to give life meaning, to
Yeah.
be free,
Yeah.
to be alive. And so much of where we get stuck is this idea that we can't have both. We can't both be accepted and completely autonomous
Yeah.
and expressive.
Yeah. Yeah. This is also making me think about what I'm currently calling the myth of mediocrity, that somehow there's this perfectly acceptable version of ourselves that we need to kind of slip into in order to fit in, right?
Mm.
And what I think is interesting in looking at the past decade is that mindset is crumbling very quickly with the internet and also with just the progression of time, and where we're at in terms of, yeah, in terms of who we are, as humans in this world right now. And I'm thinking about how very often it's like you were using this example of being a musician, and something I'm thinking about is how someone like Bjork, for example, can just be whoever she is. But as someone who's a trained musician, something that I feel like I received indirectly or kind of on a subtle level from people that I learned music from is that, well, that's her. She gets to be who she is because she's exceptional, but the rest of us are not. So we
Mm.
gotta fit in, we gotta do the work that's necessary in order to like stay in that middle lane. Um,
It's interesting because the minute
Yeah,
you said that's like that opinion, that's an opinion, first of all. The
that
idea
is
that
an opinion, but
he's
it's a very
exceptional.
prevalent opinion.
But it's the starving artist, right?
Yeah.
Like only the exception person gets to thrive. Only one person gets to, and it's the idea that's even where you're trying to define like what is thriving.
Mm,
Because maybe not every single person's favorite life that they want to live is on Bjork's level. Maybe
yeah.
every musician doesn't want to sit down and be Taylor Swift. Like, not every single person wants that level of fame. And it ties us into the idea of like, what is success? But I think what's really curious too is you said the word fit in. I was like, fitting in is not synonymous with acceptance like we think it is.
Mm, hmm.
Because if you don't know who you are and you're morphing yourself, if you think it's a puzzle, right? You're trying to shove yourself into it. You're changing who you are to fit in, but who you've changed into is not you.
Mm,
It's not your favorite parts of you. It's not the things that make you feel alive. It's not your values. It's not your dreams. It's not your goals. It's not the way you want to live. It will never actually fit because at
yeah.
some point you will realize that you abandoned yourself
Mm,
to try and
hmm.
be accepted. And true acceptance, which I think is what we all want, but from fitting in, like by being like by fitting in, maybe I'll finally be accepted and wanted and loved and like held in community, is to be seen for all that we are
Mm,
and to have someone else be like, I see you and I like what I see because it reminds me of what I like within myself and what
mm,
I love about myself.
hmm, hmm. Yeah. Okay. What would you, Ashley, say to someone who's listening to this right now and they're like, yes, sign me up. Everything you're saying sounds great, but here's the problem. I really want to be friends with certain groups of people
Mm.
that I just know will reject me. What would you say to that person?
Why do you want to be friends with them? What do you think? No, literally, what about that group of people
Yeah.
is feels so envious because you're seeing
Mm,
within these people, whether it's there is like that's something that I have not realized within myself. I want to be
mm,
friends with that person because I want to be that person.
mhm, mhm,
So if I want to be that person, there's something about that that I'm like lacking in my life. If I
mm,
want to be accepted by people, that's once one place, and there's another place we can go down about self-sabotage. But the first thing is like, okay, so you want to be place, you know you're gonna get rejected, but you still want to be accepted by them. It's like, what do they have that you don't?
mm. What do you usually find when you ask people that question, Ashley?
Ah, I want to be famous. I want to be expressive. I want to be loved. I want to be tight knit. I want to have loyalty. I want to have, oh, well, that group of people, like they love to travel. I want travel. Like
Mm,
you, by asking that question, like, why do you want to be there? There's something that's a value that you're lacking. That's the first question. The second question I would ask someone, because there's two groups of people here, is why do you want to be accepted by people who don't want you? And where does that reflect you not wanting yourself?
mm. Yeah, yeah. Earlier, when you were talking about friendship, it's making me reflect on how important befriending myself has been in the whole process of, I don't know, the spiritual path, awakening, whatever you want to call it, right? And accepting my limitations, but also there's always something extra there. Like there's something deeper to accepting your limitations. Because I think when we hear the word accepting your limitations, it kind of sounds like resignation or giving up or something
Yeah.
like that. But I think it's actually much, much deeper than that, right? It's recognizing that, this life, like our spirits, our essence is boundless. But
Hmm.
this specific life and the form that we incarnate into is restricted. But within that restriction, we learn creativity, right? Like we learn to access something that we otherwise can't express. Like if I'm not in this body right now, I won't be able to access certain expressions or certain ways of being. And same with you, Ashley, right? And that piece around befriending the self, kind of to tie it back, I found that it is harder for me to be present and be authentic in my connections when I don't accept myself.
100%. Because how can you be accepted by someone else when you're not accepting you?
Mm. Mhm.
It's one of the reasons why, if I look backwards in the nonlinear process that is my life, I work with people as a group program that I have taught called Metamorphosis, where I teach you how to meet and befriend the five different spiritual parts of yourself.
Mm.
Your younger self, so your inner child, the versions of you that have come before, your higher self, so the version of you that sits up in the astral world, the spiritual world, that's like, to your point, the boundless, limitless, like full expression of you, the values, the ideals, the dreams, your shadow self, so the parts of you that you have shoved into your unconscious that have been tied to fear and to shame. So I'm afraid. Fear is outcome based, so it's something's going to happen if I am this way, and shame is identity based, so it's I am something. And those are both tied to either like self or other as well. Typically, it's like I am like ashamed of the fact that I can't be like it was something around money, like I'm not I'm like can't be successful, or I'm like there is a sense of greed, right? And that typically ties into either self or other as well. And then there's the future self, which is like the versions of you in the future that have the realized, actualized potential of like everything you're dreaming of that's integrated. And the future self, there's like a million different versions of it because you could choose anything. And the favorite self to me, oh, I forgot one. The inner self, which is the version of you in your body right here, right now, that makes decisions, that has a nervous system, that regulates, that's able to experience the physical like form of you, the one who's in the present. And then your favorite self is what happens when all five of those versions of you become friends,
Mm. Mm.
become best friends. When they all start working together, when your shadows is working with your higher self and your with your younger self, with your future self, they all start to tie together into this greater opinion of like, oh, what do I love? Because that's the greater story, right? It's why I don't talk about being your best self, because your best self is inherently tied to like what is best. That also means there's something that's
Mm.
worse,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Would you say more about that? The difference in how do you differentiate between your favorite self and your best self?
Well, the best self inherently means there's a worse self. The best self means that there's a bad self. The best self
Yeah.
means that there is a lazy self. The best self means that there is like there's something typically we each have a definition of what best means to us that's been learned
Mm.
through our life. It's
Yeah.
also tied to productivity. It's tied to acceptance by others. It's tied to like what we get back from the world. Like
Yeah.
if I'm my best self, then X, Y, and Z will happen. But the reality is, it's only a fraction of you that you've now decided is like palatable and acceptable by society,
Mm.
and you're still hiding a bunch. Whereas your favorite self, again, is based on what you love and what you like. And you can have, I just taught a whole class on like habits for 3 weeks on like favorite self habits, magnetic habits. And I had a whole group coaching call where I was like, someone was like, yeah, but I was like, wanted to rot all day. Like, I did not want to get off the couch. Like, I wanted to be gross and I wanted to not do any of these habits. And I was like, but your rotting self is a version of your favorite self. You love to rot. You
Yeah.
like that. You enjoy that. That's why it's one of your favorite things to do. Maybe it's not always your favorite thing to do,
Mm.
but that's a version of your favorite self. So, what's your favorite way to rot? If you want to be angsty and angry and pissed off at the world, that is a favorite version of you. That's a part of who you are. So what's your favorite way to do that? And I think that's where the favorite self is different, is it's not like I have to like being my best self is like being the most productive, right? Or if I'm not being like I don't know, I think it's happened a lot in like spiritual spaces too, of the
Yeah.
idea like my best self is very pious and she does not drink and she does not do drugs and
Yeah.
she meditates for 2 hours a day and she drinks only green juices and right, like there becomes this like honestly spiritual perfectionism to it.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're then abandoning your humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Your favorite
I,
self shaking ass. Let's be
yeah.
honest. And that's spiritual to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also thinking about, would you say this is accurate, Ashley? To me, when I tune into my favorite self, it's less of a concept and more of a feeling for me.
Mhm.
It's like I can feel this, like I'm not really afraid of making mistakes. Even if I say the wrong thing in front of my favorite people, I know they will correct me gently. right?
To
And
this day. Maybe don't say that again. You're
yeah,
like, cool,
maybe
cool,
don't
cool.
say that
Great.
again.
Thanks, dude.
You're like, yes, I learned something today, right? Yeah, it's more of a feeling. It's more of a um yeah, like a sense of flexibility, but without kind of this like you're not just melting into a puddle, right? Like you're kind of like there's a sense of still being held, still being who you know yourself to be. Like you're not completely porous or kind of just all over the place, but you feel free, you know?
And that's where I would actually, it's a feeling, but underneath the feeling, it's a knowing because it's
Mm,
intuition.
hmm
That's what it
hmm
is. And your intuition, if you move into the psychic senses, we have seven of them, six, seven of them. And it goes beyond logic, right? It's not a concept, it's not a mind thing that we've mapped out. It's a knowing. It's a to me, claircognizance or clear knowing is the foundation of all the psychic senses because it's the thing that sits underneath. You just know that's what you're smelling. It's you know that's what you're seeing. You know that's what you're hearing. You know that's what you feel. Like the knowing is the deepest part of it. And that knowing is that it's typically for people like a felt sense. And I teach it through like the embodied or intuitive yes and the intuitive no. Like you know when it's right for you. You know when it's a yes. You know when it's not for you. And I think that goes back to what you said before. And I really wanted to touch on this idea of limitations because your limitations are just things you don't want. They just things that aren't right for you. Let's be honest. Every single person in this world, if they wanted something, they could get it. Where there is a will, there is a way. Like I truly live by that phrase, and I think the idea that like if it's a limitation, it's just like you don't actually want that thing. My mom likes to always tell me she's like, "You'd be a great lawyer, Ashley. You could have been a lawyer." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't want to be a lawyer though. I didn't want to go take the LSATs. I hate taking like exams. Like I'm not my neurodivergent brain is not built for sitting for exams for 4 hours. Like I do
Mm,
not want to get up in front of court. Like I don't want to do that. That doesn't so that's my limitation. Like, I don't, that doesn't feel right to me. Like, I don't want to go run a 100-mile race. Maybe at some point I will decide that's a thing my favorite self does, and that's something I do want to do. But people who running like ultra marathons, this is where it's like, that's for you. I am so happy that's your favorite version of you. That's so not for me. Like, that's just not my
yeah.
thing. And so that's a limitation. It's like, I don't actually want it.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. What if your favorite self is wanting you to do something that makes you so afraid?
Great question. Because that's what I was thinking. It's like, well, also like you go back to that question of like, I do want it, but now I can't have it.
Yeah.
And that becomes the question of typically what's happening there is there's a part of you internally that is afraid that by having that thing, you're going to have to sacrifice something you don't want to sacrifice.
Mm,
You're going to get abandoned by community. You're going to get abandoned by yourself. You're going to have like everything's going to get ruined. Everything's going to blow up. Like if you get the thing you want, and in internal family systems, the type of therapy that talks about the different parts, they talk about them as protectors. And I really liked that framework of looking at our shadows and looking at our inner children who are coming in and being like, absolutely not. I'm going to hijack your mind. I'm going to turn every single switch on your nervous system to be like, nope, you're done. Like, I'm going to literally make you dissociate so you can't even think about this thing because I've now jump started into fear and I've jump started into shame. I have literally, and that's a protective mechanism because if I am that thing, we're afraid of what might happen as the result
yeah.
and what happened to us. And so when you want something and you're convinced that your favorite self has that thing, you can reconnect to your intuition. And when I say that, what I mean is that you regulate your nervous system so you can feel safe in your body. You reach out to people that make you feel like your favorite self to ask for support because that'll reflect back what you know to be true. You make sure the thing that you want is what you want and not what
Mm,
other people want. So you independently discern
yeah.
why do I want this thing? Is this my choice or am I just buying into something else?
Mm,
You have that relationship with yourself, right? You sit down, you're like, okay, like who's upset? Where are we scared? Why are we scared? Can I tap into my future self? Can I pull on my higher self? Do I need to do some like whimsy with my inner child? Do we need to like go do some excavating and like iron out what's coming up from my shadows? Like, where am I getting thrown off? And then, how comfortable are you with sitting in the unknown? Because
Yeah.
your favorite self is unknowable inherently, because your favorite self is always evolving, because every day you discover something new and the way that you want to express into life shifts a little bit. I started, I went through a breakup back in March, which means that I was inherently due for a breakthrough. And I started playing bingo
I
with
like that
habits.
connection, by the way. The breakup and the breakthrough.
I'm like, I'm about to launch, y'all. I'm about to change my life. I mean, who here hasn't gotten fired from a job or like been forced to do something or gone through a breakup and was like, I'm literally going through a glow up. Like favorite self work is glowing up. It's like expansive, right? It's
Yeah.
magnetic.
Yeah.
And typically the things that you lean into in those moments are things that make you feel alive and again make you feel like your favorite self. But I
Mhm.
decided to play habit like bingo because I was like, I can't get myself to do these habits. I'm nonlinear in the way I experience life. I need variability every day. I cannot have a morning routine that has to feel the same way. I need to feel like I have to can choose what I want to do, but I also like need to do these things to be I need sleep. I need to be eating 3 meals. I need
Yeah.
literally if I look at it, it's I need to start moving my body. I want to start running. I want to meditate for 20 minutes. I
Mm.
wanted to dress like my favorite self because when
Mm.
I like I'm a Leo. Like I need to feel like I'm self-expressing. I want to feel like I'm showing off and flashy. Like that makes me feel
Yeah.
alive. Always has
Yeah.
made me feel alive.
Right.
And I want to do my makeup. I want to do my hair. Like I want to feel like myself. And so I made this little bingo sheet of like I'm gonna play bingo every day because then you get 3 of the 9. You're still get it. You're still doing it. You get
Hmm.
9 of 9, great, no matter what. So I could still choose like if there's a day that I was feeling sick, I didn't have to go for a run. Also, I could go for a walk. I could walk it. I could run walk it. But to the original question of like, what would you do in that moment if the version of you who wants something is terrifying? Moving to New York is terrifying. I will tell you that right now. Like, there's
Mm.
not like I'm thrilled, I'm excited, I'm so expanded, I am over the moon, and I am terrified. I am leaving a place that I call home with people that I love, a place that feels secure, a place that is inherently regulating for my nervous system, to go stick myself out of the mountains and where I can touch grass literally any day I want into the concrete jungle. And I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I know why I'm doing this because I know what favorite version of myself lives there and I know why this is important to me. And that was the clarifying moment where I was like, okay, I need to move because everything that I feel like I can't quite get in Denver, that I'm missing about myself, that like I'm lacking, lives like comes to life in New York City. Like that's how I made that decision. It was like the version I'm craving and everything I'm wanting more of. Like that's where she comes in.
Yeah.
But I lost it. I'm gonna be honest. I completely lost it. I have had multiple crash outs. I have been scared. I have been terrified. I have thrown myself into work so that I don't have to feel what I'm feeling. I have been
Mm.
confused. I have questioned myself, being like, "Are you good? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're upheaving your life." And then I went back to like, okay, well, we take this one step at a time. And I think that's the question, like the why the habits things worked really well for me is like I'm just have to sit down and eat food.
Mm.
I just have to like read a book
Yeah.
because I love to read. I just have to move my body because I love being outside. I just have to meditate because it allows me to connect to myself. Like I just had to do the things and that allowed me to like move through this really, really terrifying moment of
Mm.
going through this up level and going through this massive transition. And it also was very clarifying to me to ground into like there's so many different options for how this can play out. Like, I get to choose how I want to make this move, what I want to do, how am I going to do this, and how do I take every small step? Like, it's easy to maybe not easy, but be like, I want to move to New York. The harder part is like, how do you take every tiny step of the way and decide that like you're going to do it in a way that feels right to you?
Mm.
And to me, that's meant like, okay, I want to trust more. I want to soften and I want to enjoy and I want to play and I want to not rush this in the way that I feel
Yeah.
like I have rushed so many transitions from a place of fear in my life or from
Yeah.
a place of worry of like discomfort of sitting in the slow, intentional, and sometimes monotonous practice of allowing life to unfold
Mm.
in front of
Hmm.
me and
Yeah.
waiting until I knew what I wanted instead of rushing the knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hearing a couple things here that I want to highlight, and you can tell me if this aligns with your answer or if you want to add anything more. First thing I'm hearing is bridging that big leap with mundane, everyday tasks that can really ground us, right? And maybe tasks, they're maybe not the most, that they're not my favorite word to describe this, but just like things that you love,
Hmm.
right? That when you're in a bad mood and before you do them feels like a chore, but once you start doing it, you'll kind of be transported to another spot, right? So the first one is that bridging of the big leap and kind of the small habits. And the second thing I'm hearing from you is remembering every step of the way that you have agency, that this is a choice, right? Like getting from point A to point B is your choice, and you get to curate your experience on a moment by moment basis.
Well, it's like the idea of like if you think about running a mile, that can be really scary. If you break it down to feet or to inches, that feels a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And these habits, and actually, it's the reason why I use the word habits and not tasks, because tasks feels like it's tied to productivity for me. And the
Mm.
minute that comes in, like I just get into like work mode, and habits feels like, oh, this is just like the thing, the habitual like way I live. Like this is the things that I do when I'm living like that, unconscious, like in my favorite version of self, she's just doing these things. So these are things that I want to be doing now. And when we're really scared about taking a big leap, whether it's like for work or for love or for moving, right? These big transitions, the best thing you can do for yourself is to focus on things that have nothing to do with it,
Mm.
like indirectly. Like these
Mhm.
habits of mine have nothing to do, they have everything to do with the version of me that lives in New York, 'cause these are the ways that I want to be living, but they have nothing to do with me making the move. They have
Yeah.
nothing to do with the logistics. They have nothing to do with like figuring out how to like, make more money or to find more love or to find new friends or to put like that this is about writing a poem for 30 seconds is just because I love poetry and writing poems like makes me feel alive. And that's where, like, when we can focus on this, it allows us to not only shift into the somatic state of I'm living as that version of me who's already done this, so she can do this, the version of me that has the capacity to make this change. And also allows the process and day by day moments where, to your point around choice and autonomy, is like that's when it's happening, when we're thinking in the background, when you're like meditating or you're in the bath or you're washing your face, is when we're processing. Like the reason why we get shower downloads, right? You give your mind a moment to not be directly thinking about something. It's like doing something else and you have the aha moment because you quiet down enough the chatter that you can hear the clarity. And when we're doing these favorite self habits, you're inherently saying these are things that make me feel like my most magnetic version of me, the one that has what I want. And so then that clarity comes in. It's like setting an intention and saying, hey, I'm going to go do these things. Show me. This will appear when it does.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to like make different choices in the day-to-day moment. Like I have decided I'm going to go live with my grandparents in Kansas
Mm.
while I'm making the move. So I'm not rushing and having to immediately find an apartment in August in like that, which that makes me feel not good. Like the idea
Yeah.
of having to somehow like navigate straight there. I was like, what if I leave my car there anyways? Like go live with them and then apartment hunt and don't have to force this. I can allow it to show up. And I was like, oh, that makes me feel a lot better. I was like, great, that's what I'm doing.
Mm. Mhm.
Which is why
Mhm.
I said I'm leaving Denver and I haven't told people when I'm moving to New York because I don't know yet. Honestly, you're gonna be the first to know. Like, I don't know when that's gonna happen. I'm going to allow the universe to bring me synchronicity instead of
Mm.
trying to control everything so that I can trust. Like, if I go, I'm going for a wedding back to New York in September at the end, which I would love to hang out with you then, obviously,
Let's
if you're
do
in
it.
town. Go apartment hunting with me. And if I find something that I love, then incredible. And if I don't, that's fine. Then I'll go back another time. And
Yeah.
that gives me more flexibility. And that to me goes along with the intention of wanting to be softer, wanting to be more intentional,
Mm.
wanting to allow life to show up for me instead of having to micromanage everything,
Mm.
not
Mhm.
overworking, right? Like
Mhm.
that's the relationship with the choice. And I think that's where I share this as part of my decision making process because I think that can help with like, oh, I want a new job.
Yeah.
And that can feel terrifying, but there's so many ways to go
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I've noticed myself struggling with, as well as the people who are in my orbit, Ashley, is there's an element of lack of self-trust here. But it's actually something more specific than that, which is thinking that in order to achieve your goal, you have to take the most extreme measures. And what I'm hearing, using your move to New York as a case study, what I'm hearing you do is adding this extra layer of flexibility and trust in the larger unfolding of things, right? And this is the place where I see a lot of people really struggling to make changes or to create transformation, right? Essentially, it's like trying to rush that process of being in a chrysalis. Like if you're thinking about a butterfly, right? Rather than letting that process really take its time until your wings are fully formed, so then you can kind of come out of the chrysalis and finally fly away. What a lot of people do is they try to rush the process and then they're botched and then they're like, ah.
Well, because the process is uncomfortable. Like
Yes.
you, first step of the chrysalis is you have to build it.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to build the cocoon. Next process is you dissolve everything. Like literally, the caterpillar has to dissolve into primordial goo. Like
Yeah.
that phase is inherently uncomfortable. Like that is
Mm,
really you're having to question and be like, is this thing that I want to stick around? Is this a part of the caterpillar? Is this a part of the butterfly? Is this the thing that I want to come through the portal with me? Is this the thing that like makes me feel alive? Then you have to rebuild everything, which is laborious. And then there's the point where it's too tight. All of a sudden you start to grow and the chrysalis, you're not quite yet where you're breaking out, but you also don't really fit anymore. And so you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But you haven't quite allowed the process to take enough time to be able to expand. And then you're expanded, and then you have to wait for your wings to dry. And I think we simplify this process, which is really helpful. The idea of these four different stages, right? You go from egg of the birth and death moment to the caterpillar to the cocoon to the butterfly, and then go back to the egg again.
mm,
But we don't like get into the moments of like really what that experience is like. And
yeah.
typically the reason why we don't trust ourselves is because trusting ourselves is hard and uncomfortable.
Mm,
It's fun sometimes, but being human is not always fun. And
yeah.
trusting is not always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those concepts that sound really nice and sounds very spiritual even, but the reality of doing it is terrifying and very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and like people are gonna tell you, I think this is another thing around friendship and thing I notice constantly is that the reason why it's really important to have this relationship with yourself and to be seeing life as a experience of relating to yourself so you can relate to others and relating to others so you can relate to yourself, this like back and forth, um, bi-directional relationship flow is that everyone else is on a different path. I remember like when I was leaving New York, it was the guide that I worked with or somewhere I read was like, don't ask people for directions to places they've never been.
Mm,
And
mm,
inherently, no one has been where you're going because you're living a one unique, one of a kind life. Like you are a one of a kind experience.
mm.
Like there will never be another you. There's 7 billion people on this planet, but like you are a one of a kind experience. And so of course you're gonna have a one of a kind moment, which means that like everything is inherently unknown. And the unknown is terrifying because our mind can't wrap our head. That's infinity. The unknown isn't infinite. It's a void. We can't know it. And the thing that
Yeah.
we can control, which is typically what we're trying to do with trust, is we're trying to find a way to know and feel and go forward, knowing that we are going in the right direction and that we are doing the very best we can to protect ourselves and to set ourselves for success and to chase the dream and to be alive in this world is to come back into this moment of like, can I just take it moment by moment? And can I hold the duality of trusting also means being afraid. Like blind trust is not blind trust. That is a giving away of personal power.
Yeah.
If you're trusting blindly into something, if you're not questioning it, if you're not having moments of like, is this really what I want? Do I really believe this? Is this really what I want to buy into? Is this really what it feels right to me? Is this really make sense to the way that I understand the world? You've given away your autonomy to someone else's opinion or some other organization, right? And some institution. If you're only choosing to buy into it just because it's easier, not because you're like engaging with it. Engaging with something is hard. Like you're chewing on it, you're again, dissolving and ingraining. What does this mean? Like it's a lived experience, and it doesn't. I want to be very clear. It doesn't always mean it needs to be hard and uncomfortable because there's also like, this is yummy. Like this is quite scrumptious. Like I'm enjoying,
Mm.
right? There's also that enjoyment, but and you had said this to begin with, like part of the reason why we're humans is to be here to have a felt sense through this body, through this moment, through this expression. Like we want to feel, we want to be alive, which also means feeling the things that we don't want to feel.
Yeah.
We can't have one or the other. It's a whole spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go back to connections and friendships. And something that came into my mind while you were speaking is, let's say someone listening is like, yeah, I really want friendships. I really want more aligned connections as an adult, but I don't know where to start. Like it's been a while, I live cooped up with whoever I chose to live with, right? My child, my partner, and I don't really have a lot of friends that I feel very comfortable around. Where would you start, Ashley, in guiding them?
I love this question because I know exactly what you need to do. Okay, ready? First, we're going to go to where do you not feel like what are you missing in your life?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like what are you missing? What is it? Like start here because this is how you're gonna find the friends because again, your friends are gonna be a mirror. Like what creates true soulmate bestie relationships is I know what I'm wanting and so I what I like in you is something that I actually like in myself and what our the way we're exchanging energy is expanding this. Now it's like really yummy, right? Now we're like really good friends. Like I'm enjoying this because I'm getting something out of it and the other person's getting something out of it too. Which just to be clear, for any people pleasers or perfectionists who just think that they need to be giving and giving and giving and giving and get nothing, selfless. Like that's not it. Like relationships, you're meant to be getting something out of them. They're meant to be mutually beneficial. So I just want to start there being like you're allowed to take. You're supposed to take. You're meant to take. That's what a relationship is. It's something that benefits you and
Yeah.
benefits the other person.
Yeah.
That's first. Why would you favorite self work? Is so that you figure out like what is it that I want. And if you're like on a value level, I don't know. I know that I want to be like, I don't know, running more. I want to be hiking more. I want to be playing more. I want to be going out and having fun. I want to be dancing. Like my life feels monotonous. What doesn't make you feel monotonous? What makes your life feel alive? Answer those questions. What is it that, if you're wanting to be like, oh, I want to be more artistic. I miss being artistic. Like start to make a list of the things that you're wanting
Hmm.
and then go sign up for a class. Go, go sign up for a group. Go to an event. Go ask one of your friends if you're afraid to go to them alone. I will say going alone will mean that you probably have to make more friends easier because you're going to be alone. So you're now forced to try and connect with people. Go to
Yeah.
something alone. And then you're going to do something I call the women's bathroom ritual, which is you're going to give someone a compliment. You're like, oh my God, I am obsessed with you. Your hair, so good. I have really curly hair. I don't know if you guys can see me, but and people was like, "What is your curl routine?" And I'm like, "Bestie, I got you." Right, right. You're gonna give someone a compliment, like, "I love your outfit. You have an incredible smile."
Mm.
Compliments, people love
Hmm.
compliments. You love to be complimented. They love
Yeah.
to be complimented. You
Yeah.
give them a compliment after you're there, right? You're already in an event where you're like, people here are like-minded inherently because this is how they're choosing to spend their time. Friendships are something to do with their time. So let's say you're at a yoga class because you want to do yoga. You're going to give someone a compliment. Be like, your downward dog bestie is so good. They're like, thank you. You're like, you ask them a question. If they engage, wonderful. If they don't engage, I know it feels like rejection. It's not because if they're not into it, it's not for you.
Yeah.
You
Or
repeat that.
sometimes people are just shocked.
Yeah.
People are just shocked. I had this experience, Ashley. Not that this person was necessarily trying to be friends with me, but I landed in Tokyo very early after a super long flight. And then somebody who worked at the airport saw my passport from Indonesia and they spoke Indonesian to me. And I was just so flabbergasted that I just like walked past them because I was shocked. I was like, did I hear what I just heard? And so sometimes people just don't respond, not because they don't want to but because they
Yeah.
weren't in a state where they were able to. Yeah.
Right. Like maybe they're tired, maybe they're going through something. It has like it
Yeah.
literally has nothing to, it literally has nothing to do with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
how they respond. That's
Yeah.
their response is their business.
Hmm.
You're going to rinse and repeat that, right? If the person's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." Like, "Yeah, I just got it done. This person's amazing." You're like, "Oh my God, really? When did you move?" And you ask, these are start the surface level questions. When did you move here? What do you do? When did you start doing yoga? You ask just like things that feel like you're getting to know someone. And when you're doing that, what you'll notice is be like, is the way this person's engaging making me feel the way I want to feel? Is the way this person is
Mm.
engaging helping me feel like my favorite version of me? Are they like
Mm.
talking to me, be like, oh my God, tell me more? Like, yes. Or are they like, I don't know, like, I just did it. And you're like, oh, I didn't like that. That didn't feel good. That's information for you.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, cool, this person's not my person. Move on. So you're
Yeah.
gonna start to like put out feelers, and it's the idea of to make friends, you have to be friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the being friendly part.
Hmm.
Then you're gonna like probably ask someone out, or they'll ask you out. They'll be like, "Hey, want to grab coffee? Hey, oh my God, I'll be here next time. Do you want to go grab
Mm.
lunch afterwards? Do you want to go do
Yeah.
something?" You're gonna do like a third date
Yeah.
kind of place. Or you get each other's Instagrams and you comment on their Instagram stories. And like if they're not hyping you back up, let it go. Again, like
Mm.
these are the ways we create connection.
Yeah.
And then just start to notice, like, is this something that feels mutually like is this person also reaching out to me as much as I'm reaching out to them? Am I wanting to spend time with them? Is this helping me? And then a lot of times, the issue with being an adult is that we are very busy. We
Mm.
have all these responsibilities and we don't necessarily have like a shared work environment. We don't have, you know, school in the way that we used to. And so thinking about like how can I take the habits that I want to have, the values that I want, and the things, the bigger adventures I want to have in life, and find people who have those same dreams.
Mm.
So, like a couple of my friends here in Denver, we go and here in Denver, we go on hot girl walks because I wanted to get into morning walking, getting up early. So we would go get coffee and be little baddies and talk about our like dating lives around the park. And I have friends who I go and co-work with, and I have friends that I will sit on the phone and vent to. I have friends I'll go travel with. Like find the things that like, go to art classes together, go to music, go to concerts together, like things that you already want to be doing and invite other people in. If you want to go to an art gallery, say like, hey, I've been wanting to go to the art gallery. Any chance you're like kind of into that thing? And just
Yeah.
like start to go. And I think that because we don't bring this level of formality into friendship, and as I'm talking, you might be like, oh, isn't this just like how you date? And to that, I say, you're supposed to be friends with the people that you're dating. That is the whole point of a long-term partnership is wanting to be
Yeah.
their friend. That's
Yeah.
your like best friend. You're going to be living with
Yeah.
that person. You should be friends with them. That is the
Yes.
foundation of a healthy relationship. And so
Yes.
realizing if you take out these like higher intensity things from dating, from like, romance and also like, I don't know, like I flirt with my friends all the time because I am a flirty person and there's no intent behind it other than like I love running a bit and making other people
Having
feel good.
fun.
I just
Yeah.
want to have fun. I just
Feeling
want to have
good,
a nice
having
time,
fun.
okay?
Right. Right. Okay, I have two questions for you,
Yes.
Ashley. One is, someone listening to this being like, sounds great, but I am an introvert. How would you adjust some of your suggestions? Or, for someone who's like, oh, but I'm shy, or like, oh, but I like to be on the quieter end of things.
Okay, but like if you're an introvert and if you're shy, are you that shy when you're talking about something you're passionate about?
Hmm. This is something I found so funny because I don't necessarily identify as an introvert, but I would say I am more of a measured and slow processing extrovert. That's how I would characterize myself. But every single person I've built really deep connections with, like a lot of the people who I would call my best friends are introverts. And usually when I hang out with them, it's like a 6 hour affair.
Yeah. And then we like don't see each other for like a month. Like I have a lot of relationships like this. And I think this gets into the bigger conversation around attachment styles and
Hmm.
the realization that a lot of the times we want to rush into friendships, or we
Yeah.
rush the intimacy, or we rush the
Yeah.
frequency to which we hang out with friends,
Yeah.
or we're trying to shove ourselves into groups that don't
Mm.
actually feel aligned for us because we want community. And there's a couple of things here of the comfort with being alone is a wonderful thing. Like introverts are friends with other introverts. I am an extroverted introvert. I'm an ambivert all day through. Like I have so many friends, but I'm also like no one speak to me. I'm going and hermiting for like, like I'll drop off the
Yeah.
face of the earth sometimes because that's what I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
And realizing that for an introvert, I know the idea of going up to someone probably feels scary, and you
Mm.
probably don't necessarily feel like the loudest, most expressive person in the room, but there are other people who also want to hang out with you at the frequency you want to hang out with them. There
Yeah.
are other people who probably also want to sit in a room and read and not speak to each other. There's other people that probably want to go and like do something that you want to be doing. And it's
Yeah.
just about putting yourselves in situations, maybe it's like, someone commented, posted a TikTok about this, and they're like, well, I like to knit. Like, that's a granny activity. I was like, I have so many clients who like to knit. I know so many people in Denver who like to knit. Can you go to like a knitting meetup? Can
Yeah.
you go, like, when you're in the store buying stuff and you see someone who's cute, can you ask them a question about why they're buying what they're buying? Like, it doesn't
Mm.
always have to be this like bigger thing.
Yeah.
And I think the benefit and the beauty of social media is that you can get on there and say, hey, I love to knit. I'm looking for friends. These are the things I love to do. I'm in the city. Does anyone want to be friends? And people will respond. Like that, the
Yeah.
algorithm loves that kind of specificity. And so, first of all, you're not going to be rejected because you're not as like loud, don't have as much of the social battery as some of the people might. B, you get to show up exactly as you are and just allow it to maintain. Like something I do with a friend of mine, I would just text her and be like, I love you. I miss you. Like I feel like a dude sliding in someone's DMs. I'm like, hi, how are you? I miss you. Are you good? Right? And I send a
Yeah.
voice note and I'll
Yeah.
let it be. And then like when she's available, she'll respond. And like
Yeah.
we allow that level of cadence. And I think that's where trusting the process of building
Mm.
secure attachments and friendships means giving ourselves the space to allow it to unfold and to
Yeah.
not try to cling to things that like aren't sticking. Like if someone's just like
Yeah.
not wanting to hang out or they're not reaching out, like it has nothing to do with you. And like
Yeah.
at what point does like you reaching out feel like it's making you anxious? And you're like, this just like that's not how I want to feel in a friendship. So like I
Yeah.
can let that go and go find a friend who does.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that feels maybe harder conceptually because I think going back to COVID, we've gotten really good at not interacting with people. I think it's
Mm.
why dating feels so hard right now, and everyone's like, "This is the worst city to date in." I mean, like every city is the worst. Like that's a cop out. Every city sucks to date in. Like that's like relationships are uncomfortable, meeting people,
Yeah.
but the clearer you are about like what you want out of a friendship, what versions that you want to become, and how you want to feel in that relationship, the easier it'll be to find those people because you'll be really, really clear from a like literal mindset human standpoint. You'll know who's for you and who isn't.
Yeah.
And on a spiritual standpoint, you're putting a very, very, very clear request into the universe saying, this is what I want in a friend. Please give it back. And synchronicity will bring it to you.
Yeah. We all need the reminder that there are other people out there who want to create the connections that are aligned with us and that fulfills our needs. And also, I think this leads into my second question for you, which is for those of us who are people pleasers out there, I am curious, Ashley, what you would say to that process, right, of finding secure attachment with newer connections. I think
Mm,
sometimes it can be a lot easier with people that we've been friends with forever because if we don't respond to them for 3 months, they know what's up. They know that's just who we are and how we roll. And by virtue of them being in our lives for so long, probably they've accepted it on some level, right? Or they know how to deal with it if they felt some type of way about it. Something that I've struggled with that I'm going to fold into this question is noticing that sometimes, yes, I do want to be connected to someone, but we have very different attachment styles. And that can cause some sort of friction, or even just add to the trauma of the fear of rejection or rejecting, even for people pleasers. It can feel very scary to be like, no, actually, I don't want to hang out because I'm tired. I had a long week, right? And communicating that can feel really confronting, but pretending that you don't see their message also feels like, are we in third grade? Like
literally.
it's not like updated anymore, especially when you're, I don't know, like I'm assuming most people listening to this are probably in their late 20s at least, right? Or older. Like beyond a certain point, that strategy is no longer, doesn't feel like it's congruent with our current self. So what would you say to that process of kind of finding an attachment style that works for both parties within a friendship?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say that my therapist told me last summer that
Hmm.
has changed my life
Ooh.
is that you don't have to feel secure, you just have to act secure. When you act a certain way, your mind will abandon the belief. The thing that's going through your head that's saying that's making you feel like I'm not feeling great, like I'm not enough, they don't hate me, right? Like the mind spiral. If you can just say, what would the next best choice be that would make me feel secure in this moment, will build secure attachment because it's you moving from a place that feels right to you.
Wow. Wow.
We'll start there, which leads me to the second point, which is it's really important to be direct and honest with people. I have realized in my life that the more honest and direct I am to express myself and honor myself and to forge connection with someone else, whether it's repair, whether it's building connection, the more profound connections are received because we're always going to misunderstand each other, right? We're going to have different lived experiences, different ways of operating. And if I can be honest, saying, hey, when you said X, Y, and Z, that really hurt my feelings because I associate it with this. This is how I interpreted that. I really do well with X, Y, and Z. And you're just really direct. Like, I do so much better with, I don't know if anyone else listening to this, I'm sure maybe you do. I do so well with direct communication. So well. When someone's like, hey, I'm really tired. I don't have capacity for this. I would love to still hang out another time.
Yeah.
Great. I know exactly what's going on. Fine. I'm totally good then, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And realizing like different people have different ways of responding to stuff too. So just
Yeah.
because like you're moving into like one type of relationship and someone else is coming in, if you can say like, this is what I need, which is inherently a boundary, like that's saying like, I do really like, I'm someone who like, I need a couple days sometimes. When I get tired, I might go nonverbal. Like I have a friend of mine who like will used to drop off the face of the earth for 3 weeks, and it stressed me out. Like I would be texting her and I would not hear back. I was like, she hates me forever. We're done. She hates me. And she's like, no, I go into like I can't be perceived. Like I'm unwell and like that's my response. Like, great. Can you just like send me the like Simpsons like gif of someone disappearing into the hedge? And just so I know, like send me an emoji, send me a gif so that I'm
Yeah.
aware of what's happening for you.
Yeah.
And if you can't even do that, then it's my job to regulate my own nervous system
Mm.
and to allow myself to feel secure.
Yeah.
Not someone else's job to help me feel secure. It's my job to help myself feel secure.
Yeah.
The actions I'm taking help me feel secure. And if that person, for some reason, can't do that, it's not their job to make me feel better, to
Yeah.
please me. If I
Yeah.
don't like want to be abandoning myself and people pleasing, they shouldn't be abandoning themselves either. And so, how do we then find that middle point of direct communication and honesty? And also, I've learned so much through friendship by navigating conflict. Like we never talk about conflict in friendship. We talk like that in this kind of way. And I have conflict in most of my friendships. Like there's stuff
Yeah.
that comes up for me. Like I get my feelings hurt. Someone drops the ball repeatedly. I'm trying to make plans. They're not making the plans. They make plans with someone else. I don't feel like they're invested. Like I get my feelings hurt.
Mm.
And it's my job then to say, hey, can we talk? Like I'm feeling disconnected right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm craving, because this helps people, like I'm craving more connection to you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
wanting to do something together. Can we foster that?
Yeah.
This is what, so you know, previously, this is the action that brought that up for me. And I
Mm.
know on the receiving end, when someone's like, hey, when you use that tone of voice, that really hurt my feelings, I'm like, oh my God, I'll change the tone of voice. That's an
Yeah.
easy fix, right? Unless that thing that I'm being asked to change is something that feels integral and foundational to my favorite self. And then we're just not aligned.
Yeah.
Oh, then we're just not good friends. Like this
Yeah.
is not like we're not somewhere that this is going to be a beneficial support system for me.
Mm.
But I think it's the idea of like centering repair.
Yeah.
in these moments of realizing when anxious attachment comes up, first of all, is this something that you want to repair? Which is a hard thing to admit to yourself because sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. That has nothing to do with you. You're not meant to be everyone's best friend.
Yeah.
And B, like, how are you allowing yourself to then like create that connection? How do you repair within yourself and then repair with someone else and then let it unfold?
Mm.
Ask what you need and know that's like what you really need. Is it something that you can give yourself or is it something they can give you too?
Yeah.
And that's again goes back to the self and other, like mutual beneficial moment.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Ashley. You are so wise and so brilliant. And I feel like I can do this all day long. I feel like I can just sit here, ask you a bunch of questions, and yeah, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you for your
I adore
time.
you.
I adore you so much. Before I let you go, can you talk about all the ways that people can work with you?
Yeah, so I am a coach, I am a reader, and I'm a healer. So I offer one-on-one coaching experiences for you to be able to become your favorite self, discover, become, and expand whatever moment you are in the journey. Different levels of spiritual development too. So wherever it is, reach out. I also offer readings
Mm,
in the form of something called the transformation. So it's one part psychic reading and one part energy guided meditative journey healing experience to integrate everything we just talked about in the reading. So I can actually launch you, help you physically transform in that moment. Readings are so much fun. I blend in tarot, Akashic records, psychic, basically all the things, spirit guides. And then I also offer group programs. I offer workshops. I offer teaching experiences. I have a newsletter. So if you're like, I like this, I want to know more, you can come find me at ashleybjones.com. And my handle on Instagram is ashley.b.jones. And my email is ashley@ashleybjones.com. So if you're wondering, Ashley B. Jones, it is a little like Junie B. Jones. I will take that little archetype all day long. And regardless, it's just been wonderful to be here with you, Jonathan. I am so, so, so grateful for you. I am so excited that our friendship is getting to evolve in all the ways that it is. And you inspire and so you admire me, and I was like, I admire you, and you
I
inspire me.
definitely admire you.
And I admire you, and then you inspire me. And like, this is one of those moments where you're like, this is good. This is good stuff. So I appreciate you. Thank you
I
for having
appreciate
me.
you. Of
So wonderful to be
course.
here.
I'm
Healing the
so
spirit.
grateful. I'm so grateful for all your wisdom. You're just amazing. Thank you.
Of
Yeah.
course.